Hi, I'm Mary Beth Lynn, your systems and delegation coach, and I love getting to help travel advisors go from overwhelmed to being in control CEOs. I have a bunch of free resources for you as you go through Prep for Wave Week. You can scan the QR code or text the number below. I want to send you a couple really awesome things that are going to help you not be overwhelmed when the wave hits.
Running a travel business can be overwhelming, but imagine if there was a single tool that helped you look professional, stay organized, was easy to use, and affordable. That's just what Travefy does. Travefy gives you the essential tools you need to look like a travel biz pro. Travefy is the most trusted system used by over 30,000 travel brands worldwide. So get started with a system that helps you get back to the joy of planning travel and run your travel business like a pro with Travefy.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Becky DaCosta, and I am the Partnership and Events Coordinator here at Travefy. I have the great opportunity to work with travel advisors every day, sharing how tools like Travefy can help them simplify their business. But today, I'm actually wearing a different hat where during our time, I will be sharing with you some steps on how to market group cruises that sell out. By the end of the presentation, my hope is that you'll be able to see that one of the best opportunities in travel, in the travel industry, is group cruises. And I promise I'm going to try to be or share very tactical and practical and simple ways and tips and tricks to implement into your business today. So here's my challenge for you while you listen to me today. So listen for one thing that you could implement this week, write it down, and by the end of this session, I'll ask you to share here in the chat so we can all share and learn from each other if you feel comfortable with that. But I also have a great handout with lots of awesome resources from this presentation as well as my contact information. So if you want that handout, I think you're gonna want to stay all the way to the end. So with that said, why group cruises? So how many of you, and you can raise your hand or type it in the chat here, how many of you have booked at least one group cruise in the past year? Maybe it's just a small family or a medium-sized group, or it was a very large group. You can type it in here, maybe the destination of where it was as well. So before I jump into the practical steps, I did want to take a little bit of time into seeing the big picture of group cruises. Cruise demand is booming. According to CLIA in 2024, more than 34.6 million people cruised. And so that number is actually expected to grow to 42 million by 2028. That just shows the incredible opportunity and demand that there is. And there's also a reason as to why group cruises is so powerful for you as a travel advisor. And the reason is because it has a built-in marketing effect. When one person books, they want to bring their friends, they want to bring their family. They tell them all about the awesome experiences. They tell them to their colleagues about the experience. And it also shows that actually creates repeated business. That's because they got to share a positive experience. They have stories that people bring back. And so it really does help for when you're trying to position yourself and build that loyalty customer as well. So great focus to have. And then group cruises also generate higher profit margins, which is good for when you're growing your business, being able to sell more essentially to achieve those financial goals you have as a travel advisor. So the opportunity is very clear with this high level picture that I just painted. The question in here is, how do we, or do travel advisors, tap into this demand correctly? And so that's where all the steps that we're going to cover today come in play. So here's a little bit of the steps that we're going to be taking. I've built out this roadmap so we can follow along very easily during our time today. So first, we're going to talk about how to build your foundation. And so this is your foundation is going to be so important for your business when marketing everything on your group cruise. So from your landing page to your community to your mailing list, your CRM, that's your foundation. That's what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to break it down into more aspects as well. Then we're going to talk on how to attract interest of different people and possible leads with lead magnets. So how do these work? What are some examples of free downloads and resources that can help bring those travelers into possible leads into your workflow as well? Then we're going to look at how to promote with social media and content. And so I'll share with you a couple of a personal story for me from an advisor, as well as a couple of examples from social media content. And then last but not least, I'll share with you a couple of tips on how to convert using email and task automations, as well as urgency messages too. So the last thing I'll do is give you a quick start checklist that is also part of the handout. So even though this checklist will be there, it's also going to be part of the handout too. So sound good? Thumbs up, still with me. So let's dive into the first step. So the first step is to build your foundation. Throughout this presentation, you're going to see that I'm going to be sharing a couple of stats, and these stats come from a CLIA report of the state of the industry for 2025. So it has a lot of great information, but I found it super valuable when putting together this presentation because it brings in great information. So here's a stat to keep in mind as we're talking about building that foundation. 11% of cruisers book 1 year in advance. That just means to have your foundation, you need to have it well ahead of time. So when talking about just building that foundation, there are key 3 assets, marketing assets that I'm going to talk to you about for this foundation. The first one's going to be landing pages. Second one's going to be that Facebook group community. And the third one is going to be your mailing list. And so for that landing pages, or let's get started with the landing pages. You can answer this in the chat, but who already here or has created a dedicated landing page for a group trip? It doesn't necessarily have to be a cruise trip. It can be just a group trip of any sorts. You can put it in here. You can also put the location or where it was sent to as well. But if you don't know, a landing page is a standalone website or web page. It's very different than your main website, so don't get those confused. But the goal of the landing page is of turning visitors into leads or customers. So your landing page essentially is going to work as your central hub to bring clarity, to give your clients an easy way to book with you. And every group, I'd say that every group cruise that you market should have its own landing page. You might ask yourself, Becky, why does every group cruise need to have a landing page? It's simple. When I've been talking to advisors and I've been asking them what is the secret for group cruising, many tell me landing. Like I'd say like it's 95% of advisors I speak to, it's landing pages. One key reason is because all the details live in one single place. So clients can go back to see all the information. You can update it easily and it'll automatically update on their end. So that way, if they want to learn more about the cruise, if they want to figure out any questions, they can just go to a dedicated hub for that cruise. They can also request information. And so I have some examples, but before I jump into that, I'll share with you guys a little bit of a couple of things that a landing page needs, or must have sections. And definitely this is from my experience with advisors, but the first thing is to have a headline that highlights the experience. So highlight the experience of the cruise, not necessarily just the name of the cruise, but the experience of the cruise. Have also that itinerary and the about the cruise line. So give your client more information. Have a clear CTA, so a clear call to action, reserve your spot, contact for more information, schedule an appointment, make your first payment, like make that call to action super clear and visible throughout your landing page. And also have photos of the ship, of the destination. Some nice to haves are frequently asked questions. Maybe you already know all clients are going to ask you the same questions. So you can have those frequently asked questions in there. I find it super helpful and really nice to have when those are there, but it really just depends on your preference. You can also have amenities. So, what does the cruise bring? Information about that. You can also add rooms information or pre and post details. I've also seen advisors add transportation options. So, all of those informations lives in one central hub. So, I do have a couple of examples. So, I have three examples. I'm going to walk you through these. Um, and so the first example is just a those are three are templated. Begin at the cruise name, destination, the date, book this trip is a clear CTA. Then you can add information about the place, the itinerary, so day to day. It also talks about the ship and the amenities, some pictures, also the rooms, cruise ports, information about the food, what's included, what's not included, information about travel insurance, and then all the questions. So, really, really nice. I'd say this landing page is the more complete, complete one. So let me go back to it and let me play it again. It has really everything that I just shared before and things that you should have. So, I'm doing it again, in here, but it has about the ship, the amenities. You can add links to different pages as well. I've also seen that a lot of suppliers give advisors all this information, so it's really helpful. It sometimes is a very easy copy and paste into that landing page. But I do have another templated example. This is to Magic of Norway. Ooh, beautiful. So a video of the trip also helps. So this one's a little more simple. Has the itinerary right there and then the experience that they're gonna get, and then the call to action, start planning. This one, something I like about this one is that it has that special offer. So that way your client knows that you're running a special for that. So let's play one more time again, just to see it again. Make sure that I'm not missing anything. I do like the video importing in here, so that's something that you could also do in your landing pages, but it's really up to you. But definitely that special offer is nice in there. Then this one is Sun Princess. So take a tour, a video, again, information of what awaits. This one's information of flights, hotels, and transportation. It's really neat. I like the flow of this landing page because it gives you more information on like logistics and things that clients might ask. So really like that too. But these three templates are actually going to be as part of my handout. So once you download that handout, these three templates are going to be there in there as well. So um, now once you have that landing page, your next step is to create that community space. And so I've seen so many successful group trips having Facebook groups that create that unique community space. And so that that's when Facebook group comes in. I've also seen WhatsApp groups. It depends on where you're located, but both of those have worked as well. So, um 87% of another fact, 87% of cruisers say friends and family influence their booking decision. So that is very strong because that just means that, if a family and a friend are having that experience in the group, or if someone is part of a Facebook group, maybe those people in the Facebook group are going to influence into their booking decision because they're excited. So your group makes that influence just work so much in your favor. And I'd say like this group becomes your private marketing engine in a more personalized way. You get to create that excitement, exclusivity, and it honestly helps out a lot with communication. And so for those that haven't booked, they get to learn more and build that excitement. And for those that have already booked, they get to influence on that excitement as well. So it's a win-win, honestly. So it's that, use it as your marketing engine. If you haven't created one, try it out. You don't lose anything. I'd say try something out, try this one out and see if it works. And I've seen so many advisors use the private groups for it. And here are a couple things to keep in mind to have in the group. Have a clear name. So hosted by, put your business name there, but if you see it's not the cruise name, but it's rather like Caribbean Escape 2026 or like something fun, the experience that you're going to create. It's very similar as to what you were adding in the landing page. So like that headline or title, it wouldn't be just like Royal Caribbean, Star of the Seas, whatever. No, it's actually the Caribbean Escape 2026, something more fun. You can do polls, or you can drive engagement in your group by using polls. So, what are you most excited about? What restaurants do you want to try? Like, you can drive a lot of engagement through that too. You can also share regular updates like weekly countdowns, FAQs, reminders. So, this is a great way for engaging those that have already booked, like 100 days till we sail, or here's a sneak peek of the pool deck, or you can also share FAQs like frequently asked questions on how do you book, what does that look like, as well as any reminders. So this is also great for anybody that hasn't booked yet. And then also, it creates the possibility in this group to create unique incentives. So, like invite a friend incentive. So, invite a friend, or cruising is better with friends, invite someone and you will get $50 on onboard credit, or get an upgrade. So this actually becomes your marketing engine. So take so much advantage of this because you get to create your own messaging within this group, and bring a lot of your experience. I know many of you have already participated in lots of cruises, so bring your experience into this as well. So with your landing page as your information hub, your Facebook group as your community, the third piece for your foundation, for building that foundation, is your mailing list. As we jump into this last piece of your foundation, keep this in mind. 82% of past cruisers will cruise again. So that's a lot. 82% of past cruisers will cruise again. So think of your list as the place where people that want to learn more, hopefully that becomes into a commitment, into a booking. So every time someone joins that Facebook group, or maybe they download that free resource, or maybe they land on your landing page, you gather that client information or that possible lead information, because you have some steps to do in order to share with them information about the cruise. And so keep track of all leads. Make sure you are capturing the leads consistently, whether it be forms on your landing page, or many freebies, or like those free downloads, or the sign up buttons on your group. Make sure you're capturing those leads. So or even like as a rule for them to join your Facebook group, it could be, share your information, so that way you can keep in touch with them. So keep track of your leads, capture your leads, then segment your leads for future bookings. Make sure that you capture their interest. Maybe they're a family, they want to do luxury travel, maybe they want to do a themed cruise. So that way you have this bulk of information for future bookings. The most important thing, and I know I did mention it in this slide, but the most important thing is to later, or once you're gathering this information, being able to organize this in your CRM. And you might ask yourself, why is it so important to organize it in your CRM? Because when you use a CRM, and a CRM is a client relationship manager, your CRM is going to be that helpful place where you can tag your clients, you can track your conversations, you can see what client has already done a booking with you, who's ready to book. And you want to be able to start that relationship with your client. You want that client relationship manager to manage that for you and to gather that intel for you. So that way when they're ready to book, maybe you know their preference. You already had asked them and previously that they wanted to travel to the Caribbean, or maybe they want to go to the Mediterranean. So that way you already have that in your CRM. And let that fact that I just, or stat that I just mentioned to you guys be the top of thing in here. The reason why you want your CRM is because 82% of past cruisers will cruise again. So if they sailed once, chances are that they will sail with you again if you stay in touch, if you know their preferences, if you have their information organized. So very, very important. But now that you have your foundation, let's actually jump into what to do to attract interests with lead magnets. And you might ask yourself, what is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is essentially a free resource you can give in exchange for their contact information. So lead magnets could be a packing list, an excursion guide, or even an advisor branded resource like my family cruise survival guide. I added a couple of things in here that you can easily create: packing lists, excursion trips, family and multi-gen focused. Here's another fact. 28% of cruisers sail with third to fifth generations together. So that essentially means multi-gen families, grandparents, parents, kids. A family focused packing list or even a survival guide as a family is going to become very, like, they're going to want that. They're going to need that when they go on their trip or when they're looking into a trip. So instead of just saying download a packing list, say something like, this is the same packing list I use for my own clients after 5 years of cruise experience. Or another example that I put in there, tips, my family cruise survival guide. Like, those things are more personable. And you might ask yourself, do you think that works? And yes, it actually does work. Hundreds of advisors are applying this because they're showcasing their expertise and giving them value. Clients want that. So combining those two are really, really powerful. These are just some examples. You might think of so many others. So yeah, get creative. But once you've got your leads, you want to keep that excitement going. So that's where social media comes in. And here's another fact I'm going to share with you guys. 31% of cruise travelers in 2024 were new to cruise. That means that they actually didn't know it was gonna be their first cruise. They didn't know what to expect. They didn't know how to do things, you know. So that means that social proof that you share, your stories, your videos, your authentic posts, will actually help them feel more comfortable in the booking process. So I've always said this, but social media is about showing, not telling so much. In social media, you share your own cruise experiences. You can share videos of the ship or testimonials from group travels. And I've added actually a couple examples in here. I love sunsets, so that's why I've added a couple in here. But you can make it simple. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can do one packing tip that can become a Facebook post or an Instagram reel or an email that you can add into there too. But one thing that actually, from experience, we're going on a cruise here in the next couple of weeks. And one of the reasons why I booked with my travel advisor is because I got to see that she went on a fam trip with, like, on the cruise, like she did a ship inspection and she had her own content. So her own videos, talking on the videos, and it made me, although they weren't like the clearest, most like tripod clear videos, they were authentic videos. It was her explaining from her experience. And it just made me feel connected and like comfortable with booking with her. So I was like, she knows what she's talking about. So again, don't reinvent the wheel. Your supplier might have a lot of this information for you to share. So use your supplier information. There's tons of content online. Create a schedule for this. So many times we think about doing something for social media and then we just don't put actual content in social media. So that's something that, like, an actual timeline for it. So very, very big tip is to have that schedule. So now that we've had, the foundation, we've been able to attract those leads, promote it in social media with content. Now let's talk conversion. So how to convert those leads using email automation as well as automated tasks, building a little bit of urgency in there as well. So, and I think another stat for you guys, but I think out of all the stats I've given you today, this is the most important one. So I'm actually going to throw the secret word for this session here, which is going to be pineapple. I love pineapples, and it also reminds me of cruising and vacation. So why not? Pineapple is going to be. But here's the stat. 79% of cruise travelers say travel agents have a meaningful impact in their cruise decision. Wow. So 79% of cruise travelers say travel agents have a meaningful impact on their cruise decision. That's you. You can create that impact. You as a travel advisor can create that impact on what cruises they're going to choose, what amenities they're going to choose, or what they're going to do in the cruise. You have that power with the correct messaging. So as we jump into this next step of being able to convert with automated tasks and emails, keep that in mind because how you're communicating influences their decision. So if you have the right CRM that we were just talking about, if you have the right CRM, you can automate those emails, those tasks, and set them live and then just forget about them. In the handout, I'll actually share, in the handout that I'm sharing at the end, you'll be able to see a section of some tips on what to look for a great CRM. So that's something that you can see in there as well. So back to the examples on what to do, what a great converting email flow and task would look like. This is just from what I've heard other advisors do. I was actually just at a conference and I was talking with an advisor and she was telling me she has touch points. It's not only pre, but it's during and also post. What I'm sharing with you right now is just the conversion. It's not the during and it's not the post. This is just the conversion. So just keep that in mind. But an example of the flow could be email 1 is cruise information and you get to inspire. You send an overview of the cruise, you get to paint the picture. Email 2, you highlight the destination. You highlight what makes that destination so special. So it's not necessarily, it's like the experience that they're going to live or that they're going to have. The third email is early booking perks. Maybe you have an early booking perk with them. So like an onboard credit or upgrades. So you can do that there too. And then the last email is ending with an emergency. that one could be a final, like a call, or you can have a task for a call. You can send an email or you can create a task for a call. Um, Final cabins are filling fast. You name it, you can do something like that as well. And really just pairing the information that they received from whether they got in contact with you from that free download or the social media post that you posted or being part of the Facebook group. They're building that trust to book with you at every touch point that you have with your clients. So, and then just layer in those conversion boosters that you can add, like limited time offers, referral perks, or countdown timers. You're going to be selling those cabins for the group trips, because clients are going to want to book with you. But something you always have to remember: sell from experience, from your why. Why do you do this as a travel advisor? That will translate greatly to your customers because they're going to see that not only you're caring about, of course, like selling, but also about their experience into a cruise, and to the group cruise as well. So let's do a quick recap. So here are the steps on how to market a group cruise that sells out. You can build that foundation, making sure you have the right marketing tools, having a landing page as an overview, creating that community with a Facebook group, being able to gather the mailing and the contact information, organizing it with a CRM. Then you being able to attract more interest with lead magnets. So having a great plan to collect that information, promoting with social media and content, being able to promote using organic social or marketing marketing things that you've created as well. You also get to convert with email automations and tasks. And last but not least, I'm going to give you or share with you a quick start checklist. But the next steps are up to you. So take it one day at a time. Sometimes it might feel like, man, I really have the dream of doing a group cruise trip, but I don't know where to start and it's a little overwhelming. Take it one day at a time. There's a couple steps in here that I've built for you. So landing page, Facebook group, mailing list, the lead magnet, email, task automations, engagement posts, and social media. There's a couple more that I've added in the handout. But remember the challenge that I did for you guys at the beginning, where I wanted you guys to write down one thing that you can implement this week. If you did write down that one thing, feel free to share it, and feel free to do it here if you want to. But you're already taking steps to it. So like I said, the next steps are up to you. And if you want to learn more about group cruising, I put together this free resources for you. It includes the landing pages, examples, and templates that I shared you. It also includes resources on how to find the right CRM for your business. It also gives you some free packing lists for cruises, specifically for river cruises. There's a couple in there. I've added cruise group workflow as well as educational resources, and my contact information is also in there. So really, there's a lot to learn, but as I said, the next steps are up to you and take it one day at a time. Really awesome being here, and I hope that this was valuable for you guys, and I can't wait to connect later. So take care. See ya.